Hello again, we are back and we are talking to you from the First Evangelical Haitian Church of God of Lakeland. My name is Pastor Paul Berthol and we're going to be pursuing our study. This is the second part of our study, which is entitled Remain in the Church. And as of the last time we were talking, which is just about 10 to 15 minutes ago, we had to take a break to come to the second part. We have gotten to the fourth slide. Let's get to our fourth slide so we can complete this study. As we were saying, a lot of our young millennials are jumping ship. They leaving the churches based upon certain false ideologies as to what the church is all about, because they don't know. The words say, my people perish for the lack of knowledge. That's why ignorance is a very dangerous thing. You must know your Bible, because this is better than being a doctor. Being a doctor is great, is excellent, but this is not spiritual things. It's not, when it comes to spiritual, this means this is your eternity we're talking about, because this world is not forever. Okay, as we were saying the last time, a lot of the youth are leaving the churches because of some bad theologies in the churches, bad ideologies. One of them is the curse of Canaan. And I believe the slide would have to do with... Okay, I got to the right slide. Okay, our entire doctrine has been founded on the concept of Canaan, which was supposed to be cursed forever, and it was supposed to remain forever slave. At least if you don't believe me, you can ask the Mormons, because the Mormons, they believe that until now, because that's what they think, that beyond this world, in the new world, the new age, a certain group of people will be enslaved to them. You may ask one of them who know what he's talking about, just like a lot of Christians, they don't know what they're talking about. They don't even read the Bible. And they become leaders. I'm not sure how, if it is just to get rich, but we cannot be playing church anymore. It's not time, it's past time for that. Okay, so as to that doctrine, Canaan is supposed to remain a slave forever. Coincidentally, Canaan is present-day Jerusalem. You know, the same Jerusalem where our president is moving the capital from Tel Aviv to Jerusalem. We're not going to go into this right now. This would be for another time. But if you're a Christian, you should be a watcher. You should be expecting certain things. You should read your prophecies. You should know what's going on. Coincidentally, not only Canaan is the present-day Jerusalem, this is where God took Abraham over. At that time, it was called Canaan. Now it is called Jerusalem, or Palestine, some people would call it. Okay, now, another coincidence is that the great-great-great-great-grandmother of Jesus was a Canaanite woman. You don't have to believe me, but it's in the Bible. I'm not making it up. You can ask your pastor. You can ask your preacher. You can ask whoever your teacher is. If he cannot answer you, then you go to another pastor or to another preacher, to another teacher who can show it to you. It's all in the Bible. In fact, not only Jesus' great-great-great-great-grandmother was a Canaanite, and also God does not keep a curse forever. You can check it with the children of Israel when after 4 generations, because God said that if I'm angry at you, I will punish you and your children until 4 generations. But if you choose to do justice, if you're doing the right thing, then my blessing will go 4,000 generations. That's how God works. So about that curse forever to be slaves thing, this is out. So Jesus further said that I am the way, the truth, and the light. No one comes to the Father but by me. No one come to God but through me. I don't think anyone else can say that besides Jesus. Let's go to our next slide. Paul was going through the same thing as far as people jumping ship. People were leaving the church, going back into Hebrew Israelite status, going back into Judaism. And Paul had to go as far as calling the Galatians foolish. You can read it in Galatians 3 verse 1. He said, "O foolish Galatians, who hath bewitched you? Having begun in the spirit, now you're reverting back." Because you must understand that Christianity is born out of the Hebrew Israelite. In fact, you know that whether it's Islam, whether it's Christianity, whether it's Judaism, they're all out of the Hebrew Israelite faith. Except that, like I said before, who got the blessing? Who is supposed to be the priest? Who is supposed to be in dominion? This is where the problem comes from. And as I've mentioned, we are not fighting over land like in the Old Testament, because Jesus got the situation at hand. When he comes on the day of Armageddon, that's when he will take the land, that's when he will set his kingdom. So we're not worrying about that. Let those who want to fight over land right now, Jerusalem and everything else, let them fight. Because we, the Christians, we are in the kingdom already. If you want to, I cannot go into this right now. We must finish our study. Okay, this is what Paul was facing at that time in Galatians 1. You can read it for yourself. And also, you must be able to make a difference between Israel and the church. Paul covered that also. From Romans 9 through 11, Paul was telling the church, you guys are not supposed to poke your chest out. Do not poke your chest and look down at the Israelites, because he said he also is an Israelite from the stock of Benjamin, from the tribe of Benjamin. He said that the Israelites, they did not fall. They didn't stumble onto the stumbling block, talking about Jesus. They didn't stumble over. There was a rock of offense, a stumbling block. They stumbled over. Paul explained that God had allowed that in order for the heathen to come in, because this guy wouldn't even let Jesus go in for God's sake. So what I'm saying, God had to close their eyes for a time until the time of the Gentiles would be over with. So you have to understand, Paul told the church that you have been grafted onto the root, which is Israel. Jesus himself, when he came, he said, go unto the lost tribe of Israel. Jesus also said that salvation is of the Jews. Understand, when we say Jews, we're talking about those out of the tribe of Judah. We know from Genesis 10 and from all of the Bible that the scepter will remain in Judah. The scepter will come from Judah. That's why Jesus is called the Lion of the tribe of Judah. So understand that Paul was making a difference here. So I feel Paul even went as far as saying that he would pay with his own soul to help his Israelites brothers, because they would not listen. They would not see that we are fighting a spiritual war now. We're not fighting among brethren, but we have one enemy, and it's Lucifer himself. Okay, let's go to our next slide. Our next and final slide. Jesus also had the same problems with people that were reverting back into the world. Jesus was teaching in John 6. And you know, there are some very controversial words in the Bible that Jesus used. For instance, the same Jesus who said that for the sake of bringing your brother in, if he slaps you on one cheek, turn the other cheek. That's the same Jesus who said that the time will come that where you will have to turn whatever instruments you are using to cultivate the land, you have to turn it into a sword. So the Jesus we know is not what they portrayed him to be. You can read Matthew 23 if you don't believe me, because Jesus did not play. You can read Apocalypse, or rather Revelation 19, if you think Jesus is some type of pushover. Trust me. Read Revelation 19, read the Matthew 23. We cannot go into this right now. So Jesus was telling his listeners at that time, his audience, that in order to be part of his kingdom, you're going to have to drink his blood.